Coraline came out in 2009 and was directed by Henry Selick. Its budget was $60 million and its worldwide box office was $124 million, which I think you could say that it was definitely a success. Also, something that I didn't know, just because I didn't watch it back in 2009, I watched it probably about 5 years ago for the first time, but it was actually nominated for Best Animated Movie at the Oscars, whenever the Oscars actually still meant something, and that's pretty cool. This creepy stop-motion movie tells the story of a young girl who feels completely ignored by her parents, but after falling through a tunnel to a parallel reality where her parents seem perfect, much more sinister things are at work. Now, my first thoughts whenever I saw this for the first time was that it reminded me a lot of A Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, the first thing is obviously it's a stop-motion movie just like A Nightmare Before Christmas, but the tone is so similar to that movie as well. So it was really no surprise to me that the same director who had directed the Nightmare Before Christmas movie had directed Coraline. This movie takes itself seriously whenever it's using a lot of the dark images, a lot of the dark dialogue, story points, and it takes those things seriously without playing it off as a joke. And I think that's a super strong point in the movie because I think a lot of other directors would not take those same risks knowing that kids would be watching the movie. Just the idea of this movie as a whole is so original. And there's so many things in the movie that seem so random, like there being bugs everywhere, or that her perfect parents on the other side of this alternate reality have buttons for eyes. Why? Who came up with that? What does that mean? To a kid it means nothing, but it's super creepy. And the parents who have buttons for eyes want their daughter to have buttons for eyes too. What does that mean? Like that has such a, you know that it has such a deeper meaning to it, but you don't quite know why, but it works. Because it seems like it shouldn't make sense, but it does. The only thing that that means is that these plot points, these images, they go deeper than just the surface. And I absolutely love that whenever a movie plays on your subconscious. Other great things about the movie is the soundtrack. Soundtrack's great. If you played the soundtrack on Spotify or something else, it would be terrible, but just for this movie, each song is perfectly placed. The stop motion looks great. It looks like an updated version of the stop motion from the Chicken Run days, the Nightmare Before Christmas days. It just looks so crisp and so clean, but it also still looks like stop motion and it doesn't look like CGI that they tried to make look like stop motion. The plot is very complex at times, but also simple. It's almost hard to explain because I've tried to explain this movie to people before and it was kind of hard. It's like you have this girl and she doesn't like her parents because they ignore her and they just move to this new house, but then she comes across this tunnel to another dimension, and then in this other dimension the parents do care about her but have ulterior motives and they don't have eyes. And it's just like, it's so weird and just different, but it works. It just works. And I love that. Like, you don't have to watch the movie 12 times because it's a kid's movie. You can watch this one time and get everything. But at the same time, it's not just a super cookie cutter, average Hollywood movie. Like, it's basically an art house movie meets mainstream. And I love that. And just like what I said in my Trick or Treat review, this movie is creepy and it's a little bit scary at times, but it's not horrifying. I definitely wouldn't consider this movie a horror movie, but it's such a good movie to watch during the Halloween season. The runtime is also an hour and 55 minutes, and it does not feel like that at all. It feels like maybe an hour, hour and 10 minutes. Even in down points, your attention is still on the screen. Again, this movie is still, first and foremost, a kid's movie, so they have to engage that very short attention span at all times. Now, the only bad points I can really think of for this movie is that it is a very Tim Burton-ish kind of movie, I would say, which does have a bit of a niche fan base. Some people will not like that, And also, there are some characters in the movie that don't necessarily need to be there. And whenever I say they don't need to be there, I mean that they could have really cut out these characters and smushed it down from an hour and 55 minutes to maybe an hour and 20, an hour and 30 minutes, and it wouldn't have really changed the overall storyline of the movie that much. But having said that, I still do like every single character in the movie, even if they don't have to be in the movie. I still like that they're there. I give Coraline an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, Coraline is another movie that I would say is perfect for Halloween. I try to watch it every single Halloween. I actually have a list of movies that I like to watch every single Halloween, and obviously Coraline is on there. So yeah, again, if you were having a Halloween movie marathon, I would absolutely put this on the list.